Hi everyone, here with Pilates Flow. We'll get going in about 5 minutes. Feeling free to grab whatever you need for your Pilates Flow. Water bottle, if you work with a mat, grabbing a mat. Um, yeah, we'll see you soon enough. And we'll see if we can get a little lower to the floor here. Awesome. All right. Welcome everyone to Pilates Flow. I invite you to find a seated position with crossed legs. The accepted protocol is right leg's in a little bit closer than the left leg. And we're going to switch that up just so we get the same feel on both hips. As we sit, grounded down through our sits bones, relaxing those shoulders. I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with the hands to sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin as we start to focus our attention inward. And we can start just by watching our breath as it flows in and out. Pilates, much like yoga, is a mind-body experience. So we want to find that connection between our mind and our body, the connection that's always there. It's just our awareness of it sometimes fades. Now in class, I'd probably do this laying down, but I think for the purposes of an online class with a screen, better to do it seated so you get a better view here. So let's find our various breaths. So generally in Pilates, I work with two breaths. One is a belly breath, and the other one is the classic Pilates breath. So let's find our belly breath first. As we bring one hand on our belly, the other hand on top. And as you breathe in, just dropping the breath down, letting the hands rise as you breathe in. And keeping the belly soft, letting the belly move in as you breathe out. If you wanted to add a spread of the finger on each side of the navel, breathing in, the fingers widen, the hands spread out. And breathing out, the hands move in, those fingers narrow. And the belly does the work. I'm exaggerating a little bit just so you can see it. Let's find that belly breath with the second cross of the legs. So left leg in close, right leg a little bit further, hands find the belly. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. We got one more. Breathing in. And breathing out. Now let's find our Pilates breath. So there's specific actions both on the inhale and the exhale. Let's work with the inhale first. So I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your ribs, and we're going to breathe into our ribs on the inhale. And again, as you breathe in, the ribs are going to widen, our fingers are going to widen, our hands are going to move out. And as we breathe out, the hands are going to move in, the fingers are going to narrow. So breathing into our ribs, and breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. Now let's work on the Pilates exhale. Some folks like to call it a scoop. The idea is you engage the low abdominals and you scoop them in and up, almost like a J stroke, if you've ever done any canoeing, up towards the heart. You might also add an engagement of the back plane of the body as you lift the kidneys in and up. So it's almost like squeezing a tube of toothpaste from all sides to get a little more air to squeeze out. So I'll invite you to bring both hands to the low belly. We can breathe into our ribs. And then the exhale, want to scoop the low belly in and up. And you also want to lift the kidneys in and up. You might bring a hand to the back. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and scooping as you breathe out. So let's switch the cross of the legs and we'll do 3 more Pilates breaths just to make sure we have it down here. So let's bring one hand to the low belly, one hand to our ribs. So on the inhale, breathing into your ribs. On the inhale, scooping as you breathe out. Breathing into those ribs. Scooping as you breathe out. Breathing into those ribs. Scooping as you breathe out. So generally, whenever we're engaged in our Pilates practice, we want to work with the Pilates breath. It provides structural support for our body, that very active breath. So we keep our back feeling good, keep all parts of our body feeling good. So let's come on to our backs. I'm going to go sideways here, see how the frame looks. All right. I think I'm fully in frame. Awesome. So my heels are drawn into my sits bones, if you can't see that. So long ways. Let me go sideways here. I think you get a little better look here. And let's work with our Pilates breath here on the floor. Hand on the belly, hand on our ribs, breathing into our ribs. On the exhale, scoop. Breathing into our ribs. On the exhale, scoop. Breathing into our ribs. On the exhale, scoop. Now let's find that relaxation breath. If you bring 2 hands onto our belly, keeping the belly soft both on the inhale and the exhale, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and belly breath out. Belly breath in and belly breath out. So let's work another very important Pilates concept here, which is neutral pelvis. So I invite you to bring your fingertips under your hip points. And we're going to rock the hips up so the pelvis faces the face. We're going to rock the hips down as the pelvis faces away from the face. The low back's going to lift a lot here. Just big, obvious motion. Back and forth between posterior and anterior tilt. So that's front and back tilt. And then letting that motion get faster and smaller, like a ball rolling to the bottom of a bowl. And then coming to a place of stillness, your tailbone's going to be heavy, but there's going to be a little bit of lift in the low back. And this is your neutral pelvis. It's going to be a little bit different for most of us. We all have different shaped hips, different shaped backs. We all have different life experiences that have been encoded into our backs. But you do want to feel heavy in the tailbone, a little bit of lift in your low back. This is your neutral pelvis. In most of our Pilates exercises, you're going to keep neutral pelvis, and that's going to give us an opportunity to stretch and strengthen some of the less obvious muscles of our core. There's another move we do in Pilates called the imprint. We don't do it too often, but we do it in one of the most important exercises, the roll down and roll up. It's called the imprint, and we're going to eliminate that space in the low back as we press the back down. That recruits the bigger, more obvious muscles of our center to provide more support for the low back. And for most of us, we probably couldn't do the exercise in neutral pelvis. But otherwise, you keep your neutral pelvis, and I'll keep reminding you about that. From here, let's look at the Pilates chin tilt. So we lift the head to tuck the chin. So I invite you to bring hands behind the head and clasp with the fingers, elbows stay wide. Want to lift the head to tuck the chin, coming to the tips of the shoulders, maybe just a little bit higher, and then back down. So whether you're lifting or lowering, you want to feel a sense of tractioning as we find more length in the neck and not less. We can exhale up and inhale down. We exhale the chin up and lower it down, traction in the neck as we lay it down, breathing it up. Exhale it down, breathing it up. Exhale it down. Let's do one more. Let's hold. Exhaling, finding your Pilates chin tilt, tips of the shoulders maybe a little bit higher, engaging the upper abdominals, elbows wide, and then laying it down. From here, let's find constructive rest position. As we go wide with the feet, let the knees knock in, palms on the belly for a big belly breath in, and a belly breath out. From here, let's work towards the traditional Pilates warm-up exercise, the hundreds. So lots of ways to work the hundreds. We do want to keep neutral pelvis, so a little bit of lift in the low back, tailbone heavy. One way, we're going to push down 5 times. We're going to push up 5 times as we float the arms. We can work it with short, sharp exhales, short, sharp inhales. Another way to work it would be smooth inhales, smooth exhales. I'm going to cue the percussive breath. It's a little more dramatic and probably makes a better show on camera. So we can float the hands, the feet can stay down, the head can stay down. We push up, we push down. Another option is to float the feet. Another option is long legs to the sky. A third option is about a 45-degree angle as we lower the legs down towards the floor. Either keeping the head down or lifting the head to tuck the chin. We float the arms, finding a version that works for you, and you can always back off. We'll push down 5 times. And up. We're halfway done. And last 10. And then we can lower the feet down. If you lifted the head, we'll lay the head down. Constructive rest, wide feet, let the knees knock in. Palm on the belly, palm on top for a big belly breath in through the nose. And let it spill out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose. Let's let it spill out through the mouth. From here, let's stretch long through the right arm. Let's roll onto the right side, letting that arm serve as a cushion for our head. holding this for a breath. And then a soft tuck of the chin as we push on up. And we'll do roll downs and roll ups. And we'll take it in stages. We'll do half roll ups from the high position. We'll do half roll ups from the low position. And in these half roll ups, I'll encourage you to keep neutral pelvis. We're not going so far down that you would have to imprint the back. So finding your tall spine, back of the head is in line with the sacrum. From here we find C-spine. I'll encourage you to flex hands and feet. As we exhale down, finding just in front of the sacrum. On the inhale, we're going to come back up. We'll find C-spine. On the exhale, we'll find tall spine. On the exhale, we find C-spine as we breathe into back hard. Inhale, tall spine, pointing fingers and toes. Exhaling C-spine as we come about halfway down. Inhale, C-spine, then finding tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine as we take it halfway down. Inhale to tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. We have two more to do. Breathing in, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. I think we have one more after this. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Let's hold. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. And then on the exhale, just draping yourself over those legs. As you relax the shoulders, you relax the neck for a big belly breath in. Big belly breath out. Just let it whoosh out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it whoosh out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it whoosh out through the mouth. So let's work a full roll down, and we'll do some half roll ups from the ground. So we start, make sure you all can see me. We start from tall spine. We exhale C-spine. We slowly roll ourselves down. When we get down, full body stretch, arms by the ears, not too low. We want to keep the ribs soft and drawing in. So notice if the arms go too far down, the ribs harden and poke out. We don't want that. As we lay the head down, and we're finding our neutral pelvis. So the tailbone is heavy, the low back lifts. From here, we lift the head to tuck the chin. We exhale up to the tips of the shoulders. I'll encourage you to keep neutral pelvis, and then inhale it down. We exhale up. We inhale down. We exhale up. We inhale down. We're halfway done. We exhale up. We inhale down. Two more to go. We exhale up. We inhale down. We exhale up. I'll invite you to hold. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. One more half breath. Breath in. Breath out. And then inhale it down. And then I'll invite you to relax those legs as we bring one hand on the belly, the other hand on top for a big belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. So I'm going to roll to one side and pop on up. And let's talk about the full roll downs and full roll ups. So one of the few times in the Pilates practices where we're going to imprint that low back into the mat when we do our roll ups. And we want to feel like we're pulling a piece of tape up off a counter, and you don't want to wrinkle or crease that tape. You want to feel like you're lengthening each vertebrae slowly up, and then we'll lay it down. We're going to lay each vertebrae down slowly down. Another metaphor is when you're laying the spine down, maybe think about laying a necklace onto a counter, and you want to keep the space between the beads exactly the same. So let's start. Roll downs are always a little bit easier. We got gravity to help us. So let's start from tall spine seated. From here, finding C spine as we slowly roll ourselves down. Slow, slow, slow. Inhaling, full body stretch, arms by the ears. We find our neutral pelvis, low back lifts. On the exhale, we lift the head to tuck the chin. We imprint as we push the back into the mat, losing neutral pelvis as we slowly roll ourselves up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, C spine as we roll ourselves down. We'll do 6. Breathing in, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, C spine as we roll ourselves down. Inhale, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, rolling ourselves down. We're halfway done. Breathing in, full body stretch, low back lifts. Exhaling, we lift the head to tuck the chin. We imprint the back arm down. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, rolling it down. I think we have 2 more after this. Breathing in, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C spine. Inhale, tall spine. Exhaling, rolling it down. We have 1 more after this. Breathing in, full body stretch. Exhaling, rolling it up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C spine. Inhale, tall spine. And on the exhale, just draping yourself over those legs as you relax the shoulders, relax the head. Belly breath in, belly breath out. So in Pilates, generally we breathe in through the nose and either out through the nose or out through the mouth. On these relaxation breaths, I really enjoy just letting that breath whoosh out through the mouth. So let's move towards single leg circle. So we'll be on our backs for this one, and we'll get there from a roll down. Let's talk about it just a little bit. We want to keep our neutral pelvis, a little bit of space in the low back, tailbone heavy. We're going to exhale a leg out to the side. On the inhale, we bring it past the midpoint, not too far. We want to stay grounded through both sides of the low back. And I think that's all the explanation we need. So let's find a roll down. We start from tall spine. We find C spine as we slowly roll ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. On the exhale, let's sweep our hands by our hips and walk our feet in. So you can work single leg circle, bent legs, 1 leg high. Another way to work it, 1 leg long, other leg high. Another way to work it is either to keep the head down or lift the head to tuck the chin. A third way to work it, either keeping the hands down or floating the hands as you stretch the fingers to the feet. So I'm going to choose the last option. I'm going to, that long leg on the floor can either stay down or you can lift it up just a little bit. So right leg high to the sky, soft point to the toe. I lift the head to tuck the chin. I float the left leg, I float the arms. On the exhale, I circle out to the side. On the inhale, I cross the midline. We'll do 6 this direction. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. We're halfway done. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. 1 more this way. And inhale. Now we take it the other way. Exhale, cross the midline. We inhale out to the side. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. 3 more. Exhale and inhale. Last 2. Exhale and inhale. Last 1. Exhale and inhale. I'm going to ground the hands. I'm going to lay the head down. I'm going to let that left leg come down. I want to keep the right leg long as I slowly, slowly, slowly lower it down. When that leg lands down, let the feet splay out. Palm on the belly, palm on top. Big belly breath in through the nose. Let it whoosh out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it whoosh out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it whoosh out through the mouth. We got another side to do here. So ground it down through two hands. I'm going to lift the head to tuck the chin. Left leg high to the sky. I'm going to float the right foot. I'm going to float the hands. I'm going to exhale, left leg out to the left. On the inhale, crossing the midline. So exhale and inhale. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And here's 6. Taking it the other way. Exhale and inhale. This is 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And here's 6. Back to center. I'm going to ground right foot down. I'm going to hand the hands down. I'm going to stretch out the neck as I lay the head down. I'm going to keep that left leg long as I slowly lower it down. Letting the feet splay out, palm on the belly, palm on top. Big belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. We're going to come to a seated position. We've done this a couple different ways. One is to stretch long through an arm, rolling onto your sides and push up. The other way might be a roll up here. So we lift the head to tuck the chin. We imprint the back on down as we slowly roll ourselves up. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine. Inhale, tall spine. And then letting yourself drape over those legs. Long, smooth breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. One of my favorite exercises coming up. Rolling like a ball. Super fun. Nice massage for the low back. If you do have any back issues though, be mindful. You might skip this particular exercise. And that's something with all the Pilates exercises. They can be challenging to the back, they can be challenging to the neck. So in the right measure, and I'm not offering a lot of modifications here, so be super careful. Being your own teacher here. So if something's not right for you, please don't do it. So rolling like a ball. We're going to bring our elbows on either side of the knees. We're going to catch the front of the ankles. I like to line up my index finger with that front of the shin bone. Pilates foot position. So the heels are connected. The toes are a little bit apart. We want to find C-spine as we tuck tail and chin. When we roll back, we only go so far to the shoulders. We're not going onto the neck. When we come up, try to hover just a little bit. It's not even a quarter breath, but just a little bit of a hover. And you don't want to ground the heels down unless you have to. So we inhale to prepare. Exhale back. Inhale. Exhale back. We inhale up. Exhale back. We inhale up. We're halfway done with this set. Exhale back. We inhale up. Last 2. Exhale back. We inhale up. Last 1. Exhale back. We inhale up. We'll invite you to hold. And then grounding down through those heels with a sense of length in the back. We'll drape ourselves over those knees for a big belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. One more. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. So that's such a favorite exercise of mine. Let's do a second set. I just love it. It's very playful. So another thing to think about, in order to stabilize the shape, one strategy would be to press the knee into the inner elbow, and you want to press the inner elbows into the knee. You want to try to think of yourself like a ball, and a ball stays pretty structurally intact as it rolls. It doesn't get all whatever. If you find yourself getting all whatever, no big deal. And all this stuff takes practice. So we lift the heels. We find C-spine. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. We roll it back. Inhale up and hover just a tad. And roll it back. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And 6 is coming up. Our last one on this set. And up. Whoa. And then wide with those heels, just draping yourself over those legs. And when you drape yourself, we're not collapsing into the shape. We're feeling a sense of length in the back as we fold and hold. Relax shoulders, belly breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So I love the number 3. It's half of the number 6, another one of my favorite numbers. So Pilates, a lot of times it's always 6, sometimes 3. So let's do a third set. So C-spine, inhale to prepare, and exhale. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. We're halfway done this set. Exhale. And inhale. Last 2. Exhale. And inhale. Last 1. Exhale. Inhale and hold that extra breath. And then wide with the feet. A sense of length in the spine as you lay yourself over those knees. Big belly breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. So let's work a Pilates bridge pose. We'll do that from the ground. So let's get down there onto our ground from a roll down here. So on these roll downs, one option, I didn't mention it, but you can certainly avail yourself of that option. Would you bend the knees and grab the back of the thighs? And that works on the way down. It also works on the way up. Otherwise, straight through the legs, staying grounded through the heels. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, C-spine as we roll ourselves down. Inhale, full body stretch. On the exhale, I'll suggest a big circle of the arms as we bring our hands by our hips and walk our feet in. So this Pilates bridge pose gives us a wonderful opportunity to play with neutral pelvis. And it's going to be kind of hard to see, in fact, probably impossible to see, but I'll try to talk you through it, and hopefully my words will help you feel that neutral pelvis. So let's come back to that very first exercise we did. We bring our hands under our hip points, and we just rock the pelvis up. We rock the pelvis down, and we lift up the low back as we tilt the pelvis away from the face. So we're imprinting as we turn pelvis to face. We lift the low back, finding neutral pelvis in an extreme fashion as we tilt the pelvis away from the face. And just back and forth. And then letting it get faster and smaller, like a ball rolling to the bottom of a bowl. And then finding your neutral pelvis. Heavy in the tailbone with a sense of lift in the low back. From here, let's work Pilates bridge, and let's do 6 of them. So feet are hip width apart, grounded down through the inner heels and inner big toe. We push into the hands and feet to lift our hips up, so we're tilting the pelvis to face as we bring the pelvis in line with the knees and shoulders. And then the exhale, we're going to lay the spine down like we're laying pearls onto a cushion. When that tailbone lands down, I'll invite you to lift the low back as you find neutral pelvis. Losing neutral pelvis as we press the back into the mat to lift the hips up to in line with knees and shoulders, laying the spine down, a sense of length in the spine as we lay the low back down, and then heavy in the tailbone as the low back lifts. So we exhale up, we inhale down at the very tail end of the motion, finding your neutral pelvis. We're halfway down, we exhale it up. Inhale, we slowly lower it down, lifting the low back, tail end of the motion. Exhale it up. Inhale it down. I think we have 2 more to go here. Exhale it up. Slowly laying it down. This last one, let's hold. We exhale it up. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. And on that next exhale, laying the low back down, switching tailbone towards heels. Tailbone heavy, the low back lifts. I'll invite you to go wide with the feet. Let the knees knock in. Palm on the belly, palm on top for a big belly breath in. Big belly breath out, just letting it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Letting it spill out through the mouth. Belly breath in through the nose. Let it spill out through the mouth. From here, let's draw 2 knees in. Hands cap the knees. And let's keep neutral pelvis in this first iteration as we just gently circle our knees, also circling the sacrum, trying to keep that lift to the low back. And after 5 or 6 one way, let's take those little circles the other way. And then back to center. Now let's work anterior and posterior tilt of the pelvis into the mix as we move between neutral pelvis and an imprint. So we can circle the legs off to one side. We can draw them a lot closer in as we imprint that side of the low back. Staying imprinted as we go all the way through the midline to the other side. Finding your neutral pelvis, low back lifts as the knees draw away. Just back and forth. Let's do 6 of these. You can exhale in and inhale out. This should feel really, really good on your low back. One more this direction. And then we'll take it the other way. And here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And here's 6. And then back to center. And let's ground down through 2 feet. So let's work the Pilates bridge again. And we're going to add some leg action into the mix. So I start hands by our hips. I have neutral pelvis. I imprint as I tilt pelvis to face. I lift up to that place where the pelvis is in line with the knees and the shoulders. From here, I'll toe heel my feet in towards the midline. Pressing strongly into the left foot. I'm going to lift right leg high to the sky, soft point to the toe. Inhale. On an exhale, I flex the foot and make the thigh parallel. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. We're halfway down this side. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last one this way. Breathing up. Exhaling, thighs are parallel. I'm going to pass through parallel. I'm going to ground down through that foot. Now pressing firmly into the right foot. Left leg high to the sky, soft point to the toe. I make parallel the thighs as I flex the foot. And inhale it up. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. All halfway down. Exhale. And inhale. Last 2. Exhale. Inhale. Last 1. I'm going to flex the foot. I'm going to pass through that thigh line. I'm going to ground down through that foot. I'm going to toe heel the feet wide. And I'm going to lay the spine down vertebrae by vertebrae. Tail end of the motion, the low back lifts as I find my neutral pelvis. And then I'm going to draw 2 knees in. I'm going to keep neutral pelvis, but I'm going to circle the knees away from each other and back in. And we'll do 6 like this. Here's 4. Here's 5. Here's 6. I'm going to take those circles the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to go first direction. We're going to draw the knees closer in. We're going to imprint and lose neutral pelvis, and then we're going to regain neutral pelvis. So I draw the knees in, I lose neutral pelvis. I circle the knees out, I regain neutral pelvis. I circle the knees in, I imprint. We'll do 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll take it the other way for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's keep the knees in. Let's reach back with a hand to lift and tuck the chin. Hands catch the shins, and let's roll it up as we pop it up to find a cross-legged sit. Awesome. Let's take a break here. A little water, coffee if you choose. So let's come down under our backs, and we'll do single leg kick, I think it's called. So we can start from tall spine. We tuck tail and chin. We find our C-spine as we roll ourselves down. Inhale, full body stretch. And then a big sweep of the arms as we bring hands by our hips and we walk the feet in. So on this one, different options. Head can stay down, hands can stay down. You could lift the head to tuck the chin and you could float. Actually, the hands will catch the front of the shin. So either keeping the head down or not. So we lift the head to tuck the chin, long through the left leg. We draw the right knee in. So we're trying to keep neutral pelvis here. Notice if I draw the knee really close in, I start to imprint. I'm going to work that knee far enough up to keep that sense of space in the low back. I'm going to lift the left leg up. Inhale to prepare. Exhale through center. Inhale into the other leg long. And let's do 2 or 3 more each side. On this last one, let's hold. Exhale and switch. Inhale and hold. Exhale, 2 knees in. Let's lay the head down. And then this time, let's keep neutral pelvis as we work our legs in different circles, so different directions. So one knee comes front, the other leg goes back. We call these egg beater knees. Say 5 or 6. And then taking those egg beaters the other way. Let's go back that first direction. Let's add that imprint and neutral pelvis. So we're making the motion bigger as we can work that action in the low back. And then keeping that as we take it the other way. Feels so good on my hips, feels so good on my low back. And then back to center, hugging the knees in. Let's reach back with 2 hands to lift the head to tuck the chin. Hands catch the shins as we rock it on up. Coming back to our cross-legged sit. So let's do an exercise that's very similar to that. We'll be on our back, we'll be in neutral pelvis. We'll catch, one hand will catch the back of the thigh, the other hand will catch the outside of the shin. We'll pulse it 2 times with the breath, switching other side. So let's get there through a roll down. So we start from tall spine. We find C-spine as we roll ourselves down. Slow, slow, slow. Inhale, full body stretch. And then that big sweep of the arms as we bring hands by our hips. Let's lift the head to tuck the chin. Let's float the left leg. Let's float the hands for now. Let's stretch right leg high. Right hand catches the back of the thigh. Left hand, if you can, either below the knee or above the knee. So from here, inhale to prepare. Exhale, 2 pulses. Inhale and switch. So 3 more each way. Last one, let's hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale and switch. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. Inhale and let's draw 2 knees in. Let's lay the head down. And then from here, let's just gently rock our body from side to side. At first, keeping neutral pelvis, say 5 or 6 times. And then back to center, drawing the knees a little closer in, imprinting the spine as we rock it from side to side. And then back to center, keeping the knees close in. We can reach back with our hands to lift and tuck the chin. And we can rock it on up to find a cross-legged sit. All right. Let's do one more exercise on our back. We'll do a short prone body set, and then we'll come to a standing position, and that'll be our class for today. So let's get onto our back for this last exercise here on our backs. So we start from tall spine, We find C-spine as we roll ourselves down. Inhaling, full body stretch. And then we sweep our hands by our hips as we walk our feet in. So this is a double leg kick. We're going to lift the head to tuck the chin. You could also keep the head down. We want to try to keep neutral pelvis. So we're going to lift the head to tuck the chin if you choose this option, if the head's not going to stay down. We come to the tips of the shoulders, maybe a little bit higher. We draw the knees in. Now, if I draw the knees too far in, I start to imprint. I'm going to stop short of that. On the inhale, I'm going to find extension through the arms and legs. On the exhale, I'm going to circle the hands around to catch the outside of the knee. So it looks like this. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, we extend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 3 more. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and hold. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale it in. Laying the head down. And then let's come back to those big, big circles, 2 knees together, as we move between neutral pelvis and an imprinted back. And let's take it the other way. Keeping the knees close in, reaching back with a hand to lift and tuck the chin. And we'll rock it on up to a cross-legged sit. And from here, let's come onto our bellies. Am I in frame here? Yes, I think so. All right. So our first shape on our bellies is going to be a cross of the forearms. It's being heavy, heavy, heavy on the floor here. Great place to find that belly breath. Your belly presses into the floor as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, the body lifts, the belly still presses into the floor. So you get that tactile engagement. It's a nice focal point for your belly breath. From here, let's work with our Pilates breath. So as you breathe in, breathing into those ribs. On the exhale, the floor assists with that scoop. Breathing into those ribs. On the exhale, the floor assists with the scoop. Breathing into those ribs. And exhale. From here, let's find a Sphinx pose as we find parallel forearms, shoulder blades movement back and down, hips are heavy. From here, Pilates style, we're going to make 2 fists with the hands. We're going to press our knuckles together, so if you're wearing rings, those rings connect, elbows wide. Inhale through center. On the exhale, we're going to try to kick a glute with a soft point to the toe. And we'll do 2 short, sharp exhalations. So it looks like this, breathing in, breathing out. Inhale through center. Do a couple more each way. Let's hold these last 2. Inhale and hold. Exhale, kick closer. Inhale through center. Exhale. Inhale and hold. Exhale, keep closer. Inhale through center. And then releasing those fists, pulling back with the hands to lengthen front heart. And then switching the cross of the forearms and being super, super heavy on the floor. Same exercise. Let's add a little look over the shoulder. It's a nice way to connect the lower and upper back here. So we come back to our Sphinx pose. From our Sphinx, we make 2 fists. We press the knuckles together, elbows wide. Inhale to prepare. And then as we kick, we'll look over our shoulder. Inhale through center. Keep pressing those knuckles together. A couple more each way. Let's hold these last 2. Inhale and hold. Exhale, kick closer. Inhale through center. Inhale and hold. Exhale, kick closer. And then back to center. Releasing the fist, pulling back with the hands to lengthen front heart. This time I'll suggest a pair of potatoes, soft fists. And just letting the forehead be heavy on those soft fists. From here, let's find a rocking horse push-up as we tuck the toes, hands under shoulders. We ground down through the chin. We start with an inchworm as we lift the hips up, keeping the hips lifting the whole time as we push on up, assisted push-up. And then stretching it back to what we call in Pilates rest position. In yoga, it's a child's pose. Nestling our belly inside our thighs, arms in extension, heaving the forehead down towards the floor. Just letting that low back relax and release. From here, keeping hips and heels just as they are, we're going to walk our hands to one side, stretching far hip to far heel. Now walking our hands to center and finding that second side as we stretch other hip to other heel. Now let's come back to center. Let's find an all-fours position on our floor or mat. We'll work the cat-dog stretch. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail. Let me go sideways here so you see a little bit more what's going on. So you arc the back, inhaling. Exhaling, tucking toes as we tuck tail and chin, rounding the spine. Inhaling up. Exhaling, rounding it down. Inhale it up. Exhale it, rounding it down. Let's do a couple more. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding it down. Inhaling, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it in. Let's throw a child's pose into the mix. Breathing in, coming up center. Exhaling, big toes touch, or rest position rather, as we tuck chin and tail, sits bones back to the heels. Really feel the stretch. Inhale up. Exhaling as we round it back. Inhale it up. Exhaling as we round it back. We're halfway done here. Breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it back. We got two more to go. Breathing in and breathing out. Last one here. Breathing in, lifting it up. Exhaling, rounding it back. This time I'll invite you to find a pair of soft fists in our child's pose and just letting yourself rest, relax, and release. From here, let's get to a down dog position with our cat dog stretch. Breathing in, lifting chin and tail, and then tucking the toes, rounding the spine as we lift the knees, tailbone high, 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 and then finding your neutral or tall spine as we push the heels down. From here, let's walk our hands towards our feet. Hopefully I'm still in frame here. Let me get a little more in frame here. And we'll catch opposite elbows and just gently swinging your body from side to side. Switching the cross of the elbows, keep gently swaying yourselves from side to side. Now back to center. Let's work an assisted roll up here. Hands find the thighs. The chin is tucked as we slowly roll ourselves up. Make sure I'm still in frame here. Let me adjust the camera. Yeah, here I am. Awesome, awesome, awesome. In our standing position here, let's bring one hand on the ribs, one hand on the belly. We'll find a Pilates breath in. Exhale and scoop. Pilates breath into those ribs. Exhale and scoop. Pilates breath into the ribs. Exhale and scoop. And let's close it out with a belly breath here. Hands on either side of the navel. Letting your belly be soft as you breathe into your belly. Hands lift, the fingers widen. Keeping the belly soft as you breathe out. You can let that breath spill out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose. Just letting it out through the mouth. Breath in through the nose. Just letting it spill out through the mouth. From this place, I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart and a little bow of the chin as you thank yourself for practicing Pilates Flow. And I thank you for practicing with me. Any questions, feel free to comment. I'm going to try to do this every week at this time. If it's a better time for you, let me know. If not, I would love to see you next week. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great, great day. And enjoy that strong center we worked on for an hour or so. Anyway,